Let's talk about MVP first. SGA versus Jokic. SGA is on the number 1 seed. He's averaging 32. He's been amazing on both ends of the floor. But let's be real. Jokic is the best player in the world, and he's playing like the best player in the world. And I think if the season were to end today and the Nuggets are the 3rd seed and OKC is the 1st seed and Jokic does not get MVP, I think it's clearly voter fatigue because he's been clearly the best player this year.
It's not even close to me personally. In terms of who's been the best player, it's been Jokic. Who will be the MVP? Joel, your sentiment's spot on. It's going to be SGA, but my MVP is Nikola Jokic. You look at his on and off, and SGA's on and off.
They're incredible too.
Otherworldly as well. It's just so nuts for me to look at Jokic. It's on and off, and it's just 100 percentile across the board. 100 percentile in points per possession, 100 percentile in EFG, not 100 percentile here. 100 percentile in point differential, period. He's in the 98th percentile in turnover percentage. And we talk about the Nuggets all the time and their ability to not turn the ball over when you have Jokic, when you have Russell Westbrook. Jamal Murray will throw into that account too, who are really strong playmakers, and Russ, who's been known for turning over the ball. They've done a great job of taking care of the ball, and that obviously starts with Nikola Jokic. The one thing I will say, his defense isn't good.
No.
It's not good. And I don't know if that's ever going to change. It's been okay in the past. This season, it's been not good. That's where you look at SGA, you look at Oklahoma City as a whole. We're talking about the best defense in the league, and we're talking about the best offensive player on their team. The way that he's able to generate offense for them, his 3-level scoring, his ability to get to the free throw line, whether people like it or not, it's still a great way of putting points on the board. And he's the real only ball handler on the team. I still would have Jokic. I think Jokic is the best offensive player. They are a top 3 seed right now. They're a game behind the Grizzlies, if I'm not mistaken. He's just been so phenomenal. And obviously you understand the difference when he's on and off the court for Denver. He just makes everybody around him just so much better. We see a resurgence to Russell Westbrook's career. MPJ starting to get it together again. Now Jamal Murray starting to find it as well. And of course, it all begins and ends with Jokic. I have no problem with SGA winning MVP. None at all, truthfully. He's deserving in his own right. But it's similar, in my opinion, to the Lamar and Josh Allen. I think both are having incredible seasons. I just look at the efficiency at what Jokic is doing. It's kind of like Lamar Jackson. I'm keeping that same energy.
Yeah, I think it's close. I feel like every single year we're saying the same thing, right? Who's the best player is Jokic. Who deserves the MVP? It is narrative based to an extent.
No doubt.
It is, who's having the best story, who's on the best team, because like we say every single year, if it's just who's the best player in the world, LeBron should have 15 MVPs. Jokic should have 6 at this point, but that's not really how it works. So I do think there's a legit case, though, for SGA to be the MVP.
Definitely.
Even with Jokic being as historic as he is, as great as he is, SGA is having an all-time efficient season as well. He's averaging 35-5 this year, 50% or better he's the first guard since Michael Jordan to average 35-5 while shooting 50% or better from the field. This is 3rd straight season, by the way, averaging 50% from the field. The only other player to do that is MJ. A couple of these other numbers, we know he's efficient on all parts of the floor, right? 3 points, only 35%. That's his least efficient number. But from the mid-range, he's shooting the same percentage as KD. In the restricted area, he's shooting a better percentage than Jokic. At the rim, he's shooting a better percentage than Giannis. This is a guy that, once you get inside that 3-point arc, is probably the most efficient player in the NBA. That includes Nikola Jokic. And I do think part of this is team-based, right? Because the Thunder, I agree, have a better team than the Denver Nuggets, but they've also been more banged up this year, right? The big injury the Nuggets have had has been Aaron Gordon. He's missed around 15, 20 games or so. But of course, OKC, they've had Chet, who's been out damn near the whole season at this point. Hartenstein was out for a better part of, a couple of months to start off the year. Alex Caruso was banged up for a decent part of the season. So the only players to play 40 or more games with SGA this year, which is a majority of the first half of the season, right? We're about 50 or so games in, has been J-Dub, Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Kenrich Williams, and Aaron Wiggins. There's some good players there, but I mean, no big man, number one, no real other ball handler, which is an issue regardless of the injuries. But when you look at the Nuggets too, of course, Aaron Gordon's a big piece, but they've also been mostly healthy. Jamal Murray's been mostly healthy, although hasn't been the Jamal Murray. He's been better as of recently. Had a 50-point game last night. MPJ, Christian Brown has broken out in a big way, which I think Jokic deserves a ton of credit for. Russell Westbrook as well. But SGA has been doing this with still kind of a suboptimal, at least offensive team. We know how great the defense is, right? This is going to be one of the best defenses in basketball for the rest of the season. But offensively, he is a 16-point swing on and off. They go from the best offense in basketball to the worst offense in basketball, or second worst, like behind, like right with the Orlando Magic. So I do think there's a legit case for SGA to do it, even though Jokic is the best player. But I feel like year to year, if we're going to be consistent, which is all I ask for, the voters have been consistent in who has kind of been the best story, or who, like an Embiid, like, he's been so good for so long, here is one, over the who's just the best player, the most valuable player. So I'd be giving my MVP to SGA.
OKC has 8 more wins than the Denver Nuggets. That's a good amount of games to be a part of. So, like, SGA, for me, he's the MVP. I mean, like, Dels, you laid a lot of the groundwork for me to have a conversation, because I really don't have to say too much, because I thought you were going to spin the other way. But the fact that you spin my way and helped me out so much is a blessing. But you look at both players, like, I agree with Dre in the sentiment of both players has been elite this year. Both players have been I think the difference in the Josh Lamar thing is SGA has the numbers. SGA has the raw statistics along with the advanced statistics.
I think Josh had him too, in my opinion.
Not in comparison
Not
to
like
Lamar,
SGA. I understand.
Yeah, like,
correct.
SGA in comparison to the Joker.
Definitely.
His numbers are there.
Right there.
His advanced numbers are there. Like, he has been one of the most, like, I tried to find the gap in their advanced statistics.
It's like this.
It's
it really
nothing.
is. No.
Like, it's maybe the Joker by like a point or a point. Like, it's really insane. So I look at the story and I look at the impact of the team, of the players on the team, and you're right. OKC has been relatively banged up this year. Nothing too crazy. They still have J-Dub. They still have SGA, but both of their front court players have missed time, a chunk of time. And then on top of that, Caruso has missed some time. And SGA has been dealing with kind of an offense that's not the best three-point shooting team. It's not the best in terms of just having multiple ball handlers that can, attack a defense or break down a defense at the top of the key. SGA has been kind of doing this in the paint at will against any type of defender, good to great to elite to trash. He's been wiggling his way to the rim, and he's been so efficient at doing it. I mean, he's having, like, you're looking at him, and he's having an MJ-like efficiency. It's truly insane. So I think for me, being that they're 44-9 and they've kind of walked through the whole NBA, kind of doing their things in terms of beating teams. SGA's putting them 40 ball to 50 ball, especially this year in 2025. He's been on a different type of tier. But the Joker is also in that tier. I don't mind either one of them winning it. I think voter fatigue might play a part in it. But I also think at the same time, SGA has a legit case.
Definitely.
And SGA is the new shiny toy in the block in the conversation of best player in the world. So you have him playing at this high level, and they're constantly dominating, and they walk in. If they go and they're like 12 to 14 games ahead of the second seed, ahead of the third seed,
I agree with this.
You got to give it to him, because the number, he has everything you want. He has the number, he has the story, he has the record.
They could win 70 games this year.
They could. They can win a shit ton of, because, OKC is a young team that doesn't really take a day off in the regular season. Mm-hmm. They play hard to go. They play every game, even against the bum teams. You see, they go hard. They don't play.
And when they don't go hard, like the game against the Heat, they can have a quarter. They just outscore you by 30.
They had 100. I think it was at the 5-minute mark. They had 185 offensive rating in the fourth quarter, and that's with a Miami Heat team that defensively is really good. Mm-hmm. And you do that to Spo and them boys. That's crazy.
So let me ask this, because shout out to Carson. He actually put together...
Carson's tier list is funny. We'll talk about that.
So that's exactly what I want to talk about. He tiered offensive peaks. He put 22 players, and he tiered them 4 tiers. Now...
Do we want Joel to give his MVP before we move on?
He said his MVP was...
He said it first.
Okay, start.
I caught you.
That's okay.
I didn't know if he broke it down, really. Maybe he didn't.
Do you have more to break down, or would you rather me talk about this?
He loves to get in the monologue, you know what I mean? I didn't know. I thought I missed that. I might have missed that.
Well, I think you could say SGA is more deserving, but Jokic has been the best player in the world.
That's a fact.
If he was the 5th or 4th seed, okay, I can see it going to SGA. If the Nuggets finish with the 2nd seed, I'll even make it more difficult for them. Okay. They're the 3rd seed right now. If he finishes with the 2nd seed, I don't know why the allure of triple doubles has just died on us, because Jokic is averaging 30, 12, and 10. Mm-hmm. SGA, his efficiency is historic. Jokic's efficiency this year is better.
2nd seed sounds nice. If there's an 11-game difference, I really don't care.
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
11-game difference is fair.
I understand what you're saying.
Denver's a half game up on the 4th seed. So if that goes all year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. You talk about SGA's historic efficiency. Jokic has better true shooting percentage numbers than
He's been a better
SGA.
3-point shooter for sure.
He's been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
Level
Yeah, yeah.
scorers
Him and
in the
Sabonis.
league.
Shout out.
And then you look at the point differentials on and off. Jokic is plus 23. SGA is
yeah.
plus 16. So Jokic beats him in that too.
Nah, Jokic's
you know,
nuts. They're
if
like a 104 offense.
if SGA
Amazing.
listen, if SGA gets the award, I'm not gonna be mad. But I feel like there is a level of consistency they have to stick to. They could have had voter fatigue last year when Luka averaged 33, 9, and 9 and didn't win it because he played on a lower seed.
Good, bro.
Here's the thing.
This is Jokic's best season of his career.
Easily. And I'm a LeBron James fan. And I'm a guy that is very strong-worded when it comes to me thinking that he should have 19 MVPs. That's just not how the MVP works, and it's not how the NBA was working. They wanted to go and spread the wealth, and I'm not mad at
Which
that
I'm
at
okay
all.
with. I'll be
I
honest.
agree.
He didn't even have those level of seasons every year though.
Okay, he should have won one in
LeBron?
2011. He should have won
2011
in
over
Every
Derrick
year
Rose
you
with
could've
all the
made a
injuries
case for
they had. They
LeBron.
won 60 games.
100% he should have been MVP.
Who's the best player? D-Rose, like, come on. It's the same shit with Jokic. Like, Jokic is a better player. LeBron's
But
a better
Derrick
player.
Rose, you could argue had a better season that year.
And I'm going to say this with all due respect to Derrick Rose. He's a legend of the game. You could argue he's the worst MVP ever.
How many injuries did the Bulls have that year?
How many, you tell me?
It was a lot. Joakim Noah missed about 40 games. Boozer missed like 40. Luol Deng missed about 30.
He carried bums to 60 wins.
Keith Bogan was also the starter. He averaged 3 points.
Okay.
I don't know why he started, but he started. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
It was
Thunder
an
started
injured
like
team.
that
That's why he
much.
won. Like,
And then
injured team
LeBron,
surprise.
there was no player more deserving in 2016 than Steph.
I agree with
Oh,
that.
he
I wasn't going
didn't
to say
it. He was-
2016.
I doubt
But I'm
he
saying
would
in
say
those years, all I'm saying is LeBron didn't have MVP level years all
20
those years
He's
to
gonna
win
run the one
MVP.
they stole from
2018,
Braun. Yep.
he most definitely should have been
No,
MVP.
James Harden won 65 games that year and averaged 30.
You want to talk about
SGA's gonna-
teams?
What if he won 70 and averaged 33?
You want to talk
will.
about carrying
He will
teams?
Yeah, but
Can you
Jokic
name
averaged
me
a
the starting
triple-double.
five for that Cavaliers team?
It was bums.
It was dog shit.
No, you're right. The Cavaliers team was dog shit, but
and
James
LeBron
Harden
played all 82 for the first time in his career.
When we talk about totals, LeBron had more
I'm not
totals.
talking
But
totals.
on a per game basis, Harden was better.
He was better per game basis, absolutely. He played 82 games.
How many games Harden play?
He played
probably
70
played like 70,
Yeah, he did.
okay,
He did.
okay.
It wasn't that much of a difference.
like-
They probably had the
2 months
the
something.
first seed locked up, so he
the
probably was-
2018 Rockets,
Yeah.
one of the greatest teams to never win a championship.
Absolutely.
he played 72 games.
The-
he averaged 30 points and 9 assists that year.
LeBron averaged what, 28, 27?
Some shit like that.
LeBron did this with the Cavaliers, the 2018 Cavaliers.
bad.
It was a bad team.
bad
and
team.
2020, he got robbed MVP. If the season does not get shut down, on my mother's life, we're talking about another MVP.
27, 8, and 8.
Yeah, I mean, he's just insane.
It's like just what
It's
he
just
does.
LeBron.
Yeah.
It's just LeBron. We just gloss over that because it's LeBron.
He's doing that in 2025.
And then in 2020, that's when he was the best player in the world, and they gave it to Giannis because the season shut down. And at that point, Giannis was the MVP, so I
but
can't be
that
too
year,
upset.
Harden averaged more points and assists. LeBron averaged more rebounds, but Harden averaged more points and assists that year.
It's more than just points, rebounds, and assists. We know that.
How
If they won 65 games.
valuable are you? Most valuable.
Harden was the most valuable player on that team.
We saw what happened already when you take LeBron off the Cavs. They die. We saw that. We saw that.
What happened when Harden left the Rockets? They were
It
the
got
worst
bad.
team in the
It
league.
got really bad,
That's true.
really fast.
It's very true. 100% fact.
I listen. If
So,
you,
that's all to say. Excuse me. That's
Carson's
all.
list.
It's all to say. No. That's all to say that I am in favor of Jokic, if he is the best player in the world, winning all these MVPs.
with
That's
the
how
best
to say.
season,
Yes.
with the best season,
Yeah,
that's the
agreed.
caveat with me is like, Jokic is not just the best player; he's having the best season.
No doubt.
It's not a fact.
I think it is a fact.
I don't know if it's just a just
It's
write
not.
it. It's
It's
done.
not set in stone, but it is. In my
like they're not in
opinion,
the minimum the same tier of season.
He's averaging a triple
1A,
double.
1B. 1A, 1B.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
One
Like,
A, one
it's-
B.
I'm not saying like,
1A,
oh my
1B.
god, Jokic is
Yeah.
having the best season of all time, and SGA is like, this is like one of the top 40 game
So
seasons
when it
ever.
comes to peak, I think SGA is 26 years old. Maybe we haven't seen his offensive peak yet. He can still develop as a 3-point shooter. He can still be a better playmaker. But his ability as a 3-level scorer right now is pretty nuts. Now, he did tier them. 22 players in tier 1. He has Jokic, LeBron, Jordan, Curry, and Magic. This is no order. He just has them listed out. I
Magic
agree.
is interesting.
Magic is the one that sticks out to me mostly because he starts tier 2 with Shaq. And I think if you ask
think you
me,
flip 'em.
I would flip the two of them.
I think that's fair.
Because Shaq was, for his position, a solid playmaker, but he was the most dominant scorer ever.
yeah.
Peak is up there with
I would, and I
MJ.
think offensive peak. That's what we have to make clear because
Shaq's
I
peak's
made
up
the
there with
same
MJ.
mistake. I agree. That's also what I was going to say. When your name is associated with two guys.
Oh, that's what you're talking about when you couldn't read. I saw you
Yeah,
flagging
yeah,
him, and
yeah,
I was like,
OD,
dude,
yeah.
I was like, What you say is right. I was
So
like,
you
what
have
the
a
fuck?
problem with Magic being higher than Shaq?
Offensive peak, personally.
Me, no. I have a problem with Magic being a tier and Shaq not being.
That's
in that tier.
correct. If at minimum, I want them both in the same tier.
Yeah.
But that's what I was gonna say. When you're in a class and your name is associated with two people, you know you're doing some otherworldly stuff. If your name is associated with Wilt Chamberlain, and if your name's associated with Michael Jordan,
In terms of score.
in terms of
Yeah, you're doing
offense,
some
you're
stupid
doing
shit.
something that
It's crazy.
Nobody does.
nobody really
But
does.
is SGA doing this for the first time since Michael Jordan? Because I think Harden had a similar season when he averaged 36 and 8.
The efficiency wasn't
the
there.
efficiencies, the
Yeah,
separation.
we
That's
we
it.
just had
It's just the 3-point shooting Harden
we had a-
compared to SGA's getting downhill more.
You're right, but we had a 3 to 4 year span where Harden was averaging 30 to 34,
He wasn't
36
as
a night.
efficient.
See, but if we're talking offensive package as a whole, I understand where you're coming from.
Did he have Harden on this list?
I don't know yet.
He did.
He
No,
did.
yeah, he did.
All right, so tier 2, Shaq, Larry Bird, Oscar Robertson, I'm assuming, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Steve Nash, Wilt Chamberlain, Luka, and KD.
Is it Big O?
Big O. No, yeah, he says Oscar. So
Yes.
Oscar Robertson.
Chris Paul not being in that tier, but Nash is also threw me off.
I agree with that. Also, no Kobe.
Because I guess the passing. So I didn't hear Kobe
Never
yet,
crazy
actually.
efficient.
Kobe's in-
I'm thinking about it.
Kobe's in tier 3. He has Kobe in the same tier as Shea.
They do compare Shea to Kobe.
They do.
All right, tier 3 is Shea,
I mean,
Kobe.
efficiency, scoring's there for SGA.
The efficiency
The
might be
efficiency
higher.
Yeah,
is
so this
better.
year,
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the scoring's there with SGA.
True
plus the
shooting is
efficiency.
64.3% this year. Harden's best year in his 3-year span, his best true shooting was 62.6.
Which is still great.
That was
Yeah.
1920. I think that was the year that I think he should have won MVP when I think he averaged 36.
So he does have Shea and Harden in the same tier. He has Charles Barkley in this tier, Dirk Nowitzki in this tier, and Jerry West. In tier 4, and this is where he loses me the
Where's
most.
Kevin Garnett?
He has Giannis, CP3, and Hakeem in tier 4. If you ask me,
Where's Kevin Garnett?
I think offensive peak wise, I understand because he can handle
guess
the
I'm
ball,
thinking more skill.
playmaking. Yeah, agreed. He's definitely skilled wise.
Yeah, I'm thinking-
But if you look at Giannis,
yes.
how many seasons in a row have we seen him average 30 or at 28 plus? How many times have we
What
seen
was
him?
tier 3 again?
Tier 3 was Shea, Kobe, Jerry West, Dirk Nowitzki, Charles Barkley, and James Harden. Like Charles Barkley being here and Giannis not. I know Charles is a dog, and for his size,
Charles was
his
a dog.
his lack
He was a
of,
good
I should
passer,
say,
too.
so is Giannis.
Yeah.
I think Giannis
I guess
is a
that's the
great
name
passer.
that stuck out for you.
Correct.
Because I think everybody else was valid
Because
above.
you
Giannis.
have Shaq in tier 2, deservedly. I think you could argue in tier 1. You have Giannis in tier 4, and the only type of dominance we've seen in the paint like Shaq since is Giannis. And then as a playmaker, you could argue Giannis is a slightly better playmaker than Shaq. It's just that the type of scoring that Shaq is doing was obviously different.
I think the difference might be just uplifting an offense. Shaq's offense is, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think Magic Johnson the same thing. His offense is always ranked towards the very, very top of the
Yes.
league. Where Giannis's offenses tend to teeter. They're 12th in offense rating this year. I think in his best seasons, they were like 6th in offensive rating post 2020. So I think that's the difference. Just the uplifting an offense is, you can have the raw numbers, but is that translating to you being one of the top 3 offenses? And I think with Magic and Shaq, for the most time, they did have those type of offenses.
That's valid.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that stuck out to me. I think Jokic is definitely having one of the greatest offensive peaks ever. I mean, what he's been doing. Offense, regular, doesn't matter. I know this is strictly talking about offense, and he's not the best defensive player where we stand right now in 2025. But Lord have mercy. This is another thing. And this is something that is hard to sit with because you guys know I love LeBron with all my heart and my soul. Is Jokic just the best passer ever?
He's shit. I'm just
Over
looking right now.
Magic?
That's
the
the
year the
only
Bucks
one.
won the chip, they were top 5 offense.
Him,
They were the fifth
LeBron,
offense.
Jokic.
Where are
It's
they
the
six?
only
They're
three.
5.
And honestly,
You could put Nash in there.
They were 3 in 2022.
Dude.
He's got a couple top
the
5s.
thing that kills me
As
about
recently, they
You
kind
could
of
put
been
Chris
6 and
Paul
12.
in there.
is he better than Jokic? Is he better than Jokic?
Chris Paul at his prime as a passer?
They were
Ooh.
6th last year.
That's a guy.
No, I think Jokic is
The
better.
velocity
could
with
see
his
more
passes.
things.
Yeah, the height.
He could see more things going on the floor.
Chris
I think
Paul being that
No,
small,
no
being
doubt,
able to
no
make
doubt.
every pass in the world.
But like the
all I'm
only
saying is
person
put Chris Paul in that tier. That's all I'm asking for. Like
I personally have it a 3-4 person tier, first tier.
what's the first tier?
Magic, LeBron, Jokic, and honestly, I hate myself for already considering putting him in there. Luka might be in that tier 1 passing.
See, now I got to put Nash in there.
Luka makes passes that I see LeBron and Jokic make.
Yeah, he's just as good as those guys.
Yeah, I think Nash got to be.
I just feel like there's no way SGA can win an MVP before Luka. That's how I honestly feel.
Oh, he's sick. So there's just
So this is what this is about.
100%.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
just,
had to know there
I
was
just
some
don't
angle.
think balance
He's
can be.
minus
Wait,
650
I just
right
don't
now,
SGA
bro.
fan.
No, I love
Minus
SGA.
650.
Yeah.
It's stamped.
But just the thought of
SGA
it,
fan here.
and this is no disrespect to
He's a
SGA.
Luka fan.
He's a.
It's just the thought of it.
So he's a,
Hey,
Us knowing
come on.
how consistently great Luka has been every single year.
Listen to him.
SGA as of recently has gotten to this level, and that's where
Absolutely.
he's taken a major leap. But it just kind of doesn't feel right if
It's
he
just the
wins
Mavs
it.
never were the 1 seed.
before
They never had the most
Luka.
overwhelming team. Although last year, my MVP, Luka Doncic.
Last year, Luka had a better season than Jokic.
I agree.
And he didn't win.
He didn't.
And this year, Jokic's having a better season than SGA. So if SGA wins, I'm just like, what?
You know, you said it great one time. Life ain't fair. It ain't fair, brother.